there's a silence most people never confront. A silence between all they have and all they wish they had. Between the blessings they breathe through each day and the restless hunger that keeps them reaching, complaining, chasing more. It's a silence filled not with absence, but with blindness. Because what you fail to see, you fail to become. And what you take for granted, you eventually lose. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is not a whisper of politeness wrapped around obligation. It is the very foundation of awareness, a discipline of the spirit, a lens through which life reveals its true wealth. And if you don't master it, life will keep you chasing phantoms, running on the treadmill of more, always more, until you collapse with empty hands and a hollow heart. Let's begin with the truth most people never hear in school, never see on screens, and rarely learn from the world. Gratitude is power, the kind of power that rewires your soul, that lifts your eyes from the dirt to the stars, that builds wealth, not from accumulation, but from appreciation. You want success? You want growth? You want to conquer fear, laziness, resentment, comparison, entitlement? Begin with gratitude. Because if you cannot be grateful for what you have, you will never be trusted with more. You see, most people think gratitude is passive, that it's soft, sentimental. But real gratitude is war, a rebellion against the toxic pull of scarcity, a weapon against envy, a shield against the bitterness that infects the entitled mind. Gratitude is not what you feel when life goes your way. It's what you choose when nothing does. Mindset first. Always mindset. The way you see your life determines the way you live it. Gratitude is a mindset that refuses to be a victim. It sees blessings in disguise, lessons in pain, progress in the invisible. It transforms struggle into fuel. It doesn't deny reality, it transforms how you interact with it. You want to change your life? Stop looking for what's missing and start celebrating what's present. Stop cursing the storm and start dancing in the rain. Stop comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. Gratitude is not a denial of ambition. It's the only way to pursue ambition without being destroyed by it. Because if you're not grateful now, you won't be grateful then. If you can't be grateful in a studio apartment, you won't be grateful in a mansion. If you can't be grateful with 10 in your pocket, you won't be grateful with 1,000,000. Gratitude isn't a reaction. It's a habit, a decision, a discipline. Clarity comes when you start from gratitude. Because clarity without appreciation is blindness with a map. You can have a perfect plan, a perfect strategy, a vision board dripping with dreams, but without gratitude, you'll sabotage it. You'll mistake noise for signal. You'll chase someone else's life instead of living your own. You'll climb the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. Gratitude clears the fog. It simplifies the complex. When you're grateful, you see what matters. You stop wasting energy on what doesn't. You cut the fluff, kill the distractions, and double down on purpose. You stop asking, what am I missing? And start asking, what have I been given? And how can I multiply it? Vision born from gratitude is unstoppable because it's not desperate, it's not fragile, it's not rooted in lack, it's fueled by abundance. You stop hustling to fill a void and start building from overflow. You stop running from fear and start rising from fullness. You don't just climb the mountain, you enjoy the view on the way up. And purpose? Gratitude gives your purpose its heartbeat. Without it, your purpose becomes pride, a monument to your ego. But with gratitude, your purpose becomes service, legacy, impact. It becomes something bigger than you. And that's where your true power begins. Because when you serve from gratitude, you don't burn out, you burn brighter. You don't need applause, you give it. You don't chase attention, you offer value. Discipline is easier when you're grateful, because you no longer resent the work, you revere it. You no longer dread the reps, you see them as worship. Each step, each task, each sacrifice becomes sacred, because you're not working for a future escape, you're building on present treasure. Most people give up because they've lost sight of what they already have. They say, it's too hard, it's not worth it, I'm not seeing results, and they forget the miracle of being alive. The miracle of being able to try, to grow, to choose. They're not defeated by circumstances. They're defeated by a lack of gratitude. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's fuel. It's what keeps you moving when the results are invisible. It's what keeps your head up when the road is long. It's what reminds you that every moment is a gift, even the painful ones, especially the painful ones, because growth hides in discomfort, and only the grateful can unwrap that gift. Action taken from gratitude is precise, powerful, and persistent. Because you're no longer trying to escape your life, you're trying to elevate it. You're not running from something, you're running towards something. You stop quitting early because you've already won in your spirit. You act from a place of ownership, not obligation. You begin to realize that success is not found in the grand gestures, but in the daily rituals of gratitude. Waking up and saying, thank you. Looking in the mirror and choosing to see potential instead of flaws. Taking a deep breath and realizing it is enough. I am enough. And from that enoughness, I will build more. Gratitude turns obstacles into opportunities. Not because it changes the obstacle, but because it changes you. The obstacle is not the enemy. It's the catalyst, the test, the teacher. And only the grateful are humble enough to learn, to adapt, to grow. Adaptability without gratitude is panic. But with gratitude, it's power. You're no longer fighting change, you're flowing with it. Because you understand, everything is a gift or a lesson. Either way, you win. And resilience? That's gratitude on fire. That's what happens when appreciation gets tested and proven. When you've been knocked down and still choose to say, thank you. When you've been rejected and still choose to rise. When you've been delayed and still choose to trust. That's resilience. And gratitude is its root. People think resilience is about strength, but strength without gratitude becomes brittle. It breaks. Real resilience is flexible. It bends, it absorbs, it bounces back. Because it's rooted not in what happens to you, but in how you see it. And gratitude gives you eyes to see the gold in the rubble, the wisdom in the storm, the future in the ashes. Gratitude makes you unstoppable because it removes your limits, not the external ones, the internal ones. The ones that whisper, you're not enough. The ones that scream, it's too late. The ones that convince you to play small, stay safe, give up. Gratitude silences those lies. Because when you are truly grateful, you know you are already rich, already powerful, already whole. You stop begging for miracles and start becoming one. You start walking different, talking different, thinking different. You don't need to prove anything because you've already received everything. You don't hustle from scarcity, you build from sufficiency. And that shift, that sacred shift, is what unlocks unstoppable growth. Learning accelerates in the presence of gratitude because the ungrateful mind resists correction, but the grateful mind welcomes it. The ungrateful mind says, why me? But the grateful mind says, teach me. And that simple difference turns failures into feedback, pain into professors, and every setback into a seminar on strength. The grateful learn faster. They recover quicker. They listen deeper because they're not afraid to be wrong. They're grateful for the chance to get it right. And that's how you grow, by learning from what most people run from. Even gratitude for people changes the game. When you stop seeing people as problems and start seeing them as teachers, you elevate your leadership. You stop needing to control and start choosing to connect. You stop competing and start collaborating. Because gratitude honors others. It doesn't envy their gifts, it celebrates them. And in that celebration, you create space for your own gifts to rise. You want to grow your influence? Start being grateful for the people who challenge you, the ones who criticize you, the ones who reflect what you still need to learn. Stop dismissing and start discerning, because the very voices that offend you might be the ones that refine you. Gratitude multiplies your emotional intelligence. It makes you more empathetic, more present, more powerful in your relationships. Because people don't follow perfection, they follow authenticity. And when they see you walking with a grateful heart, they feel safer, stronger, seen. You can't fake real gratitude. It leaks out in how you greet people, how you respond to difficulty, how you talk about your day, your dreams, your disappointments. A grateful person is magnetic not because of charisma, but because of peace, because people are starving for peace, and gratitude is its source. Now listen carefully. Gratitude is not passive acceptance of less. It's not settling. It's not, I guess this is good enough. No, that's resignation. That's defeat dressed as humility. Real gratitude is fierce. It sees what is and still believes in what could be. It says, I love this life so much, I will not waste it. I will not disrespect the gift by living beneath it. That's where the fire comes from. Not from pressure, but from presence. Not from fear, but from fullness. You grow not to prove something to the world, but to honor the gift you've been given. You get better not to escape who you are, but to express who you are fully, fiercely, fearlessly. The truth is, you've already been given more than enough to begin, more than enough to build, more than enough to become. You're not waiting on a breakthrough, you're standing in one. You just need the eyes to see it. And that's what gratitude gives you. Vision, perspective, power. When you feel stuck, don't just push harder. Pause and give thanks. When you feel small, don't inflate. Remember what you've overcome. When you feel overwhelmed, don't numb out, zoom in on what's working. Gratitude brings you back to the moment, back to the center, back to the source of your strength. Even your pain becomes sacred when you process it through gratitude, because you realize, this didn't happen to me, it happened for me. That's not cliche, that's clarity. That's a soul that has learned to trust the process, even when the process hurts. Because here's the deepest truth. You don't get to choose what happens, but you always choose how you respond. And gratitude is the highest response, the most powerful response, the one that turns wounds into wisdom and trials into triumphs. You want to be unstoppable? Start with thank you. Say it until you believe it. Whisper it in the dark. Shout it in the storm. Carry it like a banner into every battle. Gratitude will not make life easy, but it will make you strong. And when you are strong, there is no limit to how far you can grow. Speak it, live it, be it. Gratitude is not just a practice, it's a posture, a position of power, an unshakable foundation. And when your foundation is gratitude, your life becomes a lighthouse. Not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. So wake up each day and ask, what am I standing on? What am I breathing through? What have I already survived? And what can I give thanks for right now, even before the next blessing arrives? Because when you're grateful before the answer comes, you become the kind of person who's ready to receive it. When you celebrate the seed, the harvest is inevitable. When you honor the small, the great is on its way. Your growth will never outpace your gratitude. Your next level won't come from more effort alone, but from deeper appreciation. So return to the beginning, return to the breath, return to the now. Look around, look within, and whisper the two words that change everything. Thank you. Now go. Build, rise, lead, give, serve. And as you do, don't just chase growth, cultivate it, and let gratitude be the soil. Let it be the song. Let it be the secret weapon that no one sees, but everyone feels. You are not here by accident. You are not empty. You are not behind. You are blessed. You are equipped. You are chosen. And when you remember that, really remember it, you become unstoppable. Because the one who walks in gratitude walks in grace. Grace under pressure, grace in failure, grace through the fire. You begin to carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with assurance. Not with ego, but with essence. You know who you are because you remember whose you are. You are a custodian of blessings, not an owner of outcomes. And that shift changes everything. Gratitude doesn't just open doors, it opens hearts. First, your own, then others. It softens the armor. It breaks the walls. You stop needing to dominate conversations. You start listening. You start seeing. You start noticing things. You used to overlook a kind gesture, a hard-earned lesson, a sunrise that costs nothing but gives everything. And in that noticing, your power multiplies. Because power isn't just in performance, it's in presence. The truly powerful aren't the loudest in the room. They're the most rooted, the most grounded, the most grateful. They don't need to announce their greatness. They embody it. And as you start walking this road of gratitude, you begin to see just how many miracles you've already missed by moving too fast. You see how many doors were already open, but you were too busy knocking elsewhere. You realize that what you thought was delay was actually preparation. That what you labeled failure was really redirection. That every moment you spent waiting was a moment life spent weaving something greater than you could have imagined. And that's the secret. Gratitude gives you trust. Not blind trust, not naive hope, but grounded, mature trust. The kind that says, even this is for me. Even this is shaping me. Even this is sacred. And when you can say that, not from theory, but from your soul, you have entered a new level. You've stopped reacting and started responding. You've stopped doubting and started deciding. Because the grateful don't hesitate. They move with conviction. Not because they have all the answers, but because they trust the process. They trust that every step forward, no matter how small, matters. That every act of effort is a declaration of faith. That every seed planted in gratitude will grow. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but inevitably, inevitably. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and realize this moment is perfect to begin. You stop needing all the steps and start taking the first one. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start saying, thank you for the chance to try. This is not theory. This is the battlefield. This is the real work. And gratitude is your armor. It is your compass. It is your edge. Because most people are chasing more, but the wise, the truly wise, are cultivating deeper. Gratitude teaches you to go deep, deep into your purpose, deep into your potential, deep into your relationships, your work, your presence. And it is in the deep that you discover the treasure. Because the surface is noisy, distracting, deceptive. But the deep is where truth lives. And when you start living from that place, you become immovable. Not because storms won't come, but because you've anchored yourself to something storms cannot shake. Gratitude is that anchor. It holds you when nothing else can. It grounds you when everything else spins. It centers you in the chaos and says, stand firm. You are blessed. You are here, and you have what it takes. And when you start living like that, doors don't just open. You become the door. Opportunities don't just show up. You attract them. Growth doesn't just happen. You embody it. You start to realize you don't need more to be more. You don't need louder applause, bigger platforms, shinier trophies. You just need to be more of you, fully, fiercely, faithfully. And that kind of authenticity rooted in gratitude is the most magnetic force in the universe. Because the world doesn't need more perfection. It needs more presence. It needs more people willing to be real, willing to show up, willing to love life, even when life doesn't love them back. And that's the power of gratitude. It gives you a love for life that isn't fragile. It's not based on how things look, or how people respond, or how fast success comes. It's a love that says, this is my life. I choose to love it. I choose to show up. I choose to give thanks even when I don't feel like it, even when it's hard, even when I'm still becoming. Because becoming is a messy process. Growth isn't linear. And success doesn't always look like winning. Sometimes it looks like showing up when you'd rather hide. Sometimes it looks like trying again when you feel broken. Sometimes it looks like choosing to smile with tears in your eyes and fire in your chest. And gratitude is what keeps you going through all of it. So speak it, declare it, choose it every day, in every way. Let your life be a declaration of thankfulness. Let your energy speak what your words sometimes forget. Let your actions say what your lips cannot. I am grateful. I am growing. I am guided, and I will not stop. You are the gardener. Gratitude is your soil. Growth is your harvest. Tend to it daily and watch your life become a garden of miracles. Not by chance, not by luck, but by choice. The choice to be grateful, the choice to grow, the choice to rise again and again. And if you remember nothing else, remember this. Gratitude is not what you feel when life is good. It's what you choose, so life becomes good. Choose it now. Choose it boldly, and you will never live the same again. Because gratitude is not a feeling that visits you when the sun is shining. It is the fire you light when the sky turns black. It is not passive. It is not quiet. It is not a nice thought scribbled in a journal once a year. It is a declaration, a battle cry, a decision that says, I will not be broken by what breaks others. I will not curse what could have built me. I will not walk through life asleep, surrounded by miracles I never stopped to notice. And that's what most people never learn. That the difference between the average and the extraordinary is not talent, it's not luck, it's not even intelligence. It's awareness. The extraordinary notice what the average ignore. They stop long enough to feel the weight of the present moment and honor it. They see the blessings in the breath, the opportunity in the obstacle, the light in the ache. They don't just wake up and go, they wake up and give thanks for the bed they slept in, the lungs that filled with air, the chance to rise, to fight, to love, to try again. While others complain about waking up early, the grateful say, I'm awake, what a gift. While others groan about Monday, the grateful whisper, another chance, another chapter, let's go. You want to transform your life? Transform how you start your day. Begin not with your problems, but your praises. Before you pick up your phone, pick up your mindset. Before you rush into tasks, take a moment to look at your life, not for what's missing, but for what's present. Not for what's wrong, but for what's right. Say thank you and mean it. Say it until your spirit aligns, until your eyes open wider, until your steps grow stronger. Because a grateful mind is a creative mind. It finds paths in deserts. It builds bridges where others see walls. It sees possibilities wrapped inside problems. It moves not from desperation, but inspiration. That's the energy that fuels unstoppable growth. Gratitude doesn't slow you down. It anchors you. And from that anchor, you move faster, smarter, stronger. Because you're no longer reacting to life, you're responding from a place of strength. The strength that comes when you realize that everything in your life, everything has shaped you, built you, brought you here, and none of it was wasted. Even the pain, especially the pain. The moments you thought would destroy you, they developed you. The failures that embarrassed you, they refined you. The delays you hated, they protected you. But you'll never see that until you choose gratitude, until you stop resenting what happened and start receiving what it gave you. That's what mature gratitude looks like. Not naive optimism, not pretending everything is perfect, but standing in the rubble and saying, even this has value. Even here I rise. Even now I build. So build. Build a life of depth. Build a legacy of strength. Build a spirit that doesn't shake with the wind. Because when you're grounded in gratitude, you cannot be shaken. You may bend, you may bruise, but you will not break. And you don't need everyone to understand you. You don't need everyone to applaud. The path of gratitude is often quiet. It's internal, sacred. While others chase validation, you root deeper in vision. While others need to be seen, you become the one who sees everything. The beauty, the lessons, the abundance that was always there. This is your advantage, your edge. Because most people are asleep, distracted, consumed by lack. They don't see the gold in their own lives. But you are awake. And in that awakening, you become powerful beyond measure. You stop asking for more and start multiplying what's already in your hands. You stop begging for blessings and start becoming one. You stop fearing what's next and start embracing what's now. And then the shift happens. The moment when growth becomes effortless. Not because the work disappears, but because the weight is no longer heavy. Because you're not dragging resentment, entitlement, and fear behind you. You're moving light. You're moving free. You're moving with gratitude as your guide. That's when you realize you don't chase growth. You create space for it. You make room by releasing what doesn't serve you. Complaints, comparisons, scarcity, self-pity, gone. And in their place, gratitude takes root. And from that root, a new you begins to rise. So don't wait for something big to happen before you're thankful. Don't wait for the money, the job, the title, the applause. That's not gratitude, that's negotiation. Real gratitude is unconditional. It's independent of outcomes. It's a decision to live awake. And when you live awake, life responds. Opportunities open, people gravitate, energy shifts. Because gratitude is magnetic. It pulls miracles toward it. It pulls power through pain. It pulls purpose from the mundane. You are not just here to exist. You are here to expand, to evolve, to elevate. And gratitude is the elevator. It lifts you without force. It moves you from the inside out. It doesn't push, it pulls, not from pressure, but from power. And the greatest truth of all, gratitude is always available. Always. In every moment, in every breath. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to wait for it. You just choose it. Right now, wherever you are, however you feel, whatever you face, choose it, and you will become unstoppable. Because when you choose gratitude, you choose power. Not the kind of power that shouts, flexes, and dominates. No, a deeper power. The kind that endures. The kind that whispers, I am still here after every storm. The kind that rises quietly from the ashes with a fire in its eyes and a knowing in its soul. This is not surface-level inspiration. This is transformation. Soul-deep, bone-strong transformation. This is the moment you stop waiting for life to give you permission and realize you already have the key. You already hold the authority. You already carry the abundance. It's been inside you this whole time. Gratitude simply clears the fog. It removes the noise that told you you were lacking. It silences the lies that said you needed more to be more. It reminds you that the miracle is not in what you achieve, but in who you become along the way. The miracle is in your ability to feel, to try, to rise, to grow, again and again and again. Even when the applause fades, even when the results are slow, even when no one is watching, especially then. Because gratitude doesn't need an audience. It doesn't perform. It practices. And in that quiet practice, in the silent spaces where no one sees, greatness is forged. You stop chasing fireworks and start building foundations. You stop craving moments of intensity and start cultivating consistency. You stop needing your circumstances to change because gratitude has already changed you. And that's the point. You're not here to control everything. You're here to control one thing, your response, your attitude, your state, your energy. That's where your freedom lives. That's where your power explodes. And that's where your life begins to shift from the inside out. So what do you do with this power? You use it daily, deliberately. You wake up and bless the ground beneath your feet. You walk with reverence. You speak with fire. You lead with humility. You love with presence. You don't just talk about gratitude, you live it. You breathe it. You embody it. You create with it. Not because you're desperate for validation, but because you're overflowing with vision. Not because you're trying to fill a hole, but because you've tapped into the well. The deep, sacred well of awareness that says, I am rich, I am whole, I am ready. And when you live like that, your presence becomes your message. Your life becomes a sermon. Your energy becomes a force that moves people, not with noise, but with resonance. Not with hype, but with depth. You stop chasing attention and start commanding it. You stop pushing and start pulling. You stop waiting for a better moment and make this moment better by how you show up in it. Because growth isn't out there. It's right here. In how you handle the small things. In how you talk to yourself when no one's listening. In how you show up when it's inconvenient. In how you keep showing up when the reward hasn't arrived yet. Gratitude turns your waiting room into a training ground. It teaches you to hold your vision, even when nothing around you validates it. It teaches you to speak life over dead dreams, to see potential in dry places, to believe again, not because you've seen proof, but because you've decided to become the proof. And once that decision is made, once gratitude becomes your new normal, you become a different kind of human. You don't shrink around fear, you stretch. You don't fold under pressure, you forge. You don't break in the storm, you build in it. You understand that life is not happening to you. It's happening for you, through you, around you. And you, yes, you have the power to shape it with your words, your thoughts, your spirit, and your gratitude. You no longer say, I'll be grateful when. You say, I'm grateful now. And because I am, more is on its way. Not out of entitlement, but alignment. You don't beg the universe. You align with it. You don't force your growth. You flow into it. You don't cling to outcomes. You commit to the process. And that right there is what makes you unstoppable. Because people who live from gratitude don't quit. They evolve. They don't blame. They build. They don't shrink. They shine. And when you shine, you light the way for others. You don't even need to preach. Your gratitude speaks louder than any words. Your peace becomes permission. Your growth becomes evidence. Your life becomes a lighthouse in a world drowning in darkness. This is your calling. This is your power. And this is your moment. So don't wait for the perfect season. Don't wait for a clearer sign. Don't wait for someone else to tell you it's your time. It's your time because you say so. Now take that breath. Feel the life in your lungs. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Feel the presence pulsing through this very moment. And say it not as a whisper, but as a vow. Thank you. Let that be your anthem. Let that be your answer. Let that be your legacy. Because when all else fades, gratitude remains. And from that foundation, you rise. And when you rise, you do not rise alone. You lift others by your very being. Not because you carry them, but because you show them what's possible. You show them that you can be grateful and still hungry. That you can honor where you are while reaching for more. That you can be grounded and still grow taller than anyone imagined. Gratitude is not a finish line. It's the beginning of everything. It is the root of every sustainable success, the heart of every lasting legacy. It is the hidden force behind clarity, behind courage, behind consistency. Gratitude is what keeps you warm in the cold, clear in the chaos, whole in a world that tries to pull you apart. Because when you live from gratitude, you don't need perfect conditions. You don't need the stars to align. You bring your own light. You bring your own energy. You bring your own atmosphere into every room, every meeting, every project, every challenge. You stop being reactive and become generative. You create solutions. You generate momentum. You inspire belief not just in you, but in what's possible. And what's possible? Anything. Because you're no longer driven by insecurity. You're driven by insight, by awareness, by a reverence for the life you've been given and the one you are still building. You're not desperate, you're deliberate. You're not chasing, you're choosing. And the world starts to feel it. People sense your steadiness, your integrity, your rootedness, and they lean in. Not because of your titles, your followers, or your accolades, but because of your spirit. Because they see a person not trying to take from life, but to give to it. A person who wakes up with fire, not fear, with peace, not panic, with clarity, not confusion. All because you learned to say thank you with your life, not just your lips. Thank you with your effort. Thank you with your presence. Thank you with your choices, your words, your work. This is your edge in a world full of complaints. This is your power in a world obsessed with problems. You become a solution by becoming grateful. Because gratitude doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you think. And how you think determines how you move. And how you move determines what you build. You stop running from the hard things. You run into them with open eyes and an open heart. Because you've seen what they produce. You've seen the strength that only comes through struggle. The wisdom that only comes from walking through fire. The joy that only comes on the other side of pain, fully processed. You learn to welcome it all, to bless it all, to honor it all. That's gratitude. Not just a tool, but a truth. Not just an idea, but a foundation, a way of being, a way of living, a way of becoming more than you ever imagined without needing more than you already have. You realize nothing is missing, nothing is broken, nothing is wasted. And that awareness makes you dangerous. Dangerous to fear, dangerous to limitation, dangerous to mediocrity. Because when a person becomes truly grateful, they become free. Free from the lies of lack. Free from the prison of not enough. Free from the chains of someday. And in that freedom, they grow. Not from pressure, but from passion. Not from scarcity, but from overflow. So live like that. Grow like that. Give like that. Let gratitude fuel your purpose. Let it clarify your path. Let it strengthen your yes and dignify your no. Let it define how you love, how you lead, how you build, how you show up when it's hard and stay when it's inconvenient. Let it be your foundation. Because storms will come, delays will come, critics will come, loss will come. But when you are rooted in gratitude, none of it can shake you loose. You are not what you lost. You are not what they said. You are not what didn't happen. You are the one who stayed grateful. And because of that, you stayed powerful. That power, it doesn't fade. It compounds. And over time, it builds something sacred. A life that feels like peace, like clarity, like freedom, like purpose in every breath. That's what gratitude builds. That's what you're building. So don't just speak it, be it, and let the world feel your fire. Let the world feel the fire of someone who no longer needs circumstances to be perfect in order to show up fully. Someone who doesn't wait for permission to praise, doesn't hesitate to honor, doesn't flinch at adversity, because their gratitude is their guardrail, their guide, and their gold. You are that someone. You are the one who took what most people overlook and made it your fuel. The one who decided that nothing is too small to celebrate, that no blessing goes unnoticed, that no breath is taken for granted. And in that decision, you became different, rare, unshakable. Because gratitude doesn't just change your energy, it changes your standards. You start expecting more from yourself, not because you lack, but because you respect what you've been given. You no longer tolerate mediocrity, not because of pride, but because of purpose. You hold yourself to higher ground, not to prove, but to preserve, to protect the sacredness of this life, this gift, this calling. And in that space, you stop being distracted. You stop being scattered. You stop being seduced by noise and nonsense, because you've found your center. You've found your reason. You found the quiet power that doesn't shout, but shakes the room with its presence. That's the fire. The quiet blaze that keeps you focused when others quit. That keeps you humble when others boast. That keeps you aligned when others drift. It doesn't flicker with trends. It doesn't bow to pressure. It burns steady, and it lights the way. Because the world is dark, no doubt about it. There's chaos, there's pain, there's confusion. But you are the light. Not because you have all the answers, but because you've chosen the one path most people ignore. Gratitude, not as a moment, but as a movement. Not as a feeling, but as a foundation. Not as a concept, but as a core value that guides every step you take. So now walk it out. Every step infused with thanks, every choice baptized in awareness, every setback met with a sacred pause, not to complain, but to say, thank you. Now, let's rise again. Because you will rise, you will build, you will impact. Not because you've avoided pain, but because you've alchemized it, transformed it, turned it into wisdom, into warmth, into something that others can feel the moment they meet you. That's legacy. That's how movements begin, not with noise, but with clarity. With someone who chooses to live differently, to see differently, to move from a place the world cannot touch. That place is gratitude, and you have access to it now, always now. So when it gets hard, go back there. When you lose sight, go back there. When the world feels loud and your mind feels heavy, go back there. To the breath, to the moment, to the miracle of simply being here. And from that place, decide again, build again, begin again. Because from that place, you are unshakable. You are unbreakable. You are unstoppable because you are grateful. And now, let the final words settle not just in your mind, but deep in your soul. You have everything you need right now, not someday, not when you arrive, not when the plan is perfect. Now, you are not waiting for life to give you permission. You are here to give life purpose. So live with gratitude, fierce gratitude, focused gratitude, fire-breathing, world-shifting, legacy-making gratitude. Let it be your rhythm. Let it be your roar. Let it be your response when life presses and your reminder when life blesses. Because gratitude is not weakness. It's wisdom. It is the wisdom to see the invisible, to cherish the intangible, to build from the unshakable. And when you live from that place, you become what this world so desperately needs: a light in the dark, a calm in the storm, a force for good, a soul on fire with purpose. This is who you are. This is who you've always been. So step into it now, fully, boldly, gratefully, because nothing can stop a person whose heart is full. And you, yes, you are full. Now go, speak life, give thanks, and let the world feel the fire of your gratitude every step of the way.